this one, isn't it? It's really going to be, well, strategy, racecraft, all sorts is going to come into play there. They're back in the pits, though. What's actually happened?
Okay, so I think that's my bad. I thought you were going to a bit of video clip. Sorry if I made it seem like qualifying had concluded, James. No, they're still in the pits waiting to go out. They're going to be led out by... I was just saying that Robert Kazam is probably due a performance. He said he's one of these drivers who can pop up and do something special. We haven't seen it yet, but I believe. I believe it's in there, James.
Well, yes. The question is, does he? Right then, so we're heading out for this qualifying session, and yeah, a bit of an all-star one again, isn't it? Isn't every heat race an all-star? We've been saying that all weekend. But really, from this one, we're looking at some of the entries here. We've got Nicky Dolan's in this one, Patrick Neroda, so we've got the other brother Neroda, Adriano Medeiros from São Paulo, he lives in Bedford these days, Lucas Sullivan, Ben Churchill, Ross O'Mara, Bradley Shepherd, Robin Kazam, Gavin Williams and Joe Hambler. Now, really, this is not of the same calibre as some of the heat races we've seen, so this is a great chance for some other drivers to score a big load of points. Now, I think this one is wide open now for Patrick Neroda, but what I was saying before, the racecraft and the strategy is going to play a very important part in this race, because arguably, without meaning to talk anyone down, this is potentially an entire midfield battle, isn't it? When you look at the lineup.
That's harsh.
Well, not really, because we're talking about people who so far this weekend we wouldn't necessarily see running at the front, maybe except for Patrick Neroda. Wow. This is a great chance for these guys who normally will be maybe pushed down a bit by some of the other competitors to actually score well. So I think this is a great shout.
James, did you say that someone had swapped Sao Paulo for Bedford?
Yes.
How bad must Sao Paulo be to do that?
Well, it must be pretty awful, actually, when you think about it. Yes, Adriano Medeiros is the driver in question. He's round out the qualifying there in 8th place. So we've got Bradley Shepherd, the Oak Plate BRKC winner, so the summer champion. He's taken the pole ahead of Patrick Neroda. Robin Kazam is in 3rd. Gavin Williams 4th. Joe Hamblett is up there in 5th. Lucas Sullivan 6th. Wow. Ben Churchill 7th. Adriano Medeiros 8th. Ross O'Mara and Nicky Dolan round him out. I've got to be honest, Spanners, I was thinking this is the exact sort of heat race that someone like Ross O'Mara does throw it up to the front.
The fact that he's a little bit further back will mean we're guaranteed a bit of action. So that's good.
Yes, because he does get pretty racy, does Ross O'Mara. Very pleasant guy out of the kart. To be honest, he's a really nice guy. He's the sort of person you would happily spend the afternoon with. Unless, of course, you were karting and you were right in front of him, in which case he might change that opinion.
From looking at it karting, I would have assumed he was a right git.
Is that right? Yes. Luckily, he's in the kart, so we can't even say that, and therefore justify the comment. But now we're heading off, and it's Bradley Shepherd now. Bradley Shepherd does need a load of points here. He could do this. He really could. Bradley Shepherd leads the way round. When's he going to pull the pin? It's now. And he accelerates away. Patrick Neroda is behind him. And then, of course, Robin Kazam. So Shepherd is actually defensive into Snail. He needs to be, because he knows Neroda wants to get this job done as soon as possible. So Patrick Neroda this time. We've been talking about Lucas Neroda in the previous race. It's now the other Neroda, Patrick, his brother, as they head down the backstretch there. It is Bradley Shepherd with the lead there. Getting a little racy behind, but there's Neroda, a bit of a watching brief in second. It's Kazam behind him. In fact, Kazam's Kazam in 3rd, isn't it? Yeah. So Bradley Shepherd leads the way from Patrick Neroda into the Snail section for the 2nd time. There's no real breakaway group as such, although at the back of the field, Nicky Dolan does seem to be just struggling to hang on to Adriano Medeiros a little bit. And Adriano Medeiros has been passed, by looks of it, by Ross O'Mara. So down the back stretch, it's Bradley Shepherd, and there is Patrick Neroda, there is Robin Kazam, and the rest of them. So there's Gavin Williams, of course, chasing down Kazam. Kazam in the white helmet, very distinctive there with the green flash on the top of it, especially when everyone around him has got a fairly dark helmet.
See, if Neroda just keeps that little bit of pressure off the front, those two could disappear, couldn't they?
Yes, they could. Yes, they could. The question, of course, is how patient is Naroda going to be? He knows he can trust Bradley Shepherd to be there on speed, but I'm sure Patrick Naroda will feel that he is the rightful leader of this race.
I don't think Shepherd trusts Naroda to not make a move, though. I think that's going to be the problem.
No, I don't think he does. They are pulling away, so it's working to plan. And in the pits.
Oh, we've got an early pit stop here. Rolling the dice early is Lucas Sullivan. And he looks good, and he's out on his own now.
Yeah, so there's Lucas Sullivan. A lot of TKM experience. We were talking about him yesterday. He's got a lot of outdoor experience, some of which actually doesn't help him from an indoor point of view. Oh, and Bradley Shepherd getting very defensive there over Patrick Naroda. As you pointed out, he's expecting a move, and that was the move he was expecting.
Yeah, I don't think
a little bit of touching coming through the final corner,
I don't think they're working together at all, James.
No. The only thing they're interested in is winning the race. I think Bradley Shepherd wants to win. Patrick Naroda probably feels he should be the rightful winner of this race, really on merit, and obviously he needs to get ahead of Bradley Shepherd to prove that. Robin Kassam's still looking quite content in third.
It's good, isn't it?
But and Joe Hamblett's probably worthy of mention. They're in fifth place, because so far we've seen him a lot further down the order than that. So Joe Hamblett is halfway up the order, in fact in the top half. There he is, coming past you now, Spanish. Yeah,
I'm trying to have a look at what happened to Ross O'Mara as well. I think he's found himself in a net 7th.
Yeah, Ross O'Mara, having moved ahead of Adriano Medeiros, so Lucas Sullivan's been in the pits, of course. Nicky Dolan is running 9th, Medeiros is 8th, Ross O'Mara is up to 7th. Ben Churchill is next one on his list, and then of course the one we've just been talking about, Hamblett. Meantime, up at the front on screen, that is Bradley Shepherd leading the way. He won the BRKC O-Plate, the Summer Championship, and he is now trying to stake some kind of claim on the actual main title. Bradley Shepherd, he's had a bit of a tough weekend so far. This has certainly been his best run, and he is leading the way here ahead of Patrick Naroda. So that's a pretty good benchmark. You're leading Patrick Naroda, you're doing very well indeed. So Naroda working on him. Naroda is going to clearly want to get ahead of Shepherd, I'm sure. Well, obviously he's going to try and win, isn't he? That goes without saying.
Comment, James.
Yeah, I mean, that's a natural thing to say, but I think he's going to want to do it sooner rather than later. I don't think this is let's work together and clear off in the distance. That's really what I'm aiming at, Spanners.
I'm with you.
So as they come out of the snail section, it's Shepherd and Naroda are increasing their lead. They've got 3 seconds over Kassam, with Gavin Williams up there, and then Joe Hamblett. That's sterling effort in 5th. So there is, there's a quite tight battle. Let's Adriano Medeiros trying an outside pass on what looked like Ben Churchill, was it? Or was it actually O'Mara?
So there was a little bit of contact there that slowed Churchill down, I think.
Yeah, I think Adriano Medeiros was trying to move. Let's have a look at who it is. Someone's coming in the pits.
Yeah, Ben Churchill's decided he's had enough. So I think there was contact between Churchill and one of the dark race suits. Sorry, I didn't catch who
Medeiros,
it was.
maybe.
Medeiros, yeah. And then so there you go. He's decided to get out of that battle, and that's probably wise, because I think they were taking chunks out of each other.
Yeah, I think. I mean, as a personal friend, I've actually known Adriano Medeiros for. Gosh, now not far off 20 years, but it's certainly pretty much the whole time he's been here in the UK, which is a long time. I've never asked him about the sense of a move from Sao Paulo, but he seems to prefer Bedford. But anyway, Adriano Medeiros, originally from Sao Paulo, he is very Brazilian. You talk to him, you know, he doesn't sound like a guy from Bedford, you know what I mean? So he's known as affectionately as Gringo to his friends, simply because a lot of people were struggling with Adriano Medeiros. His actual full name is Adriano Medeiros Gramini, which lends itself well to a shortened version, doesn't it?
A nickname is well called for.
Yes. Meantime, up at the front, we've got Bradley Shepherd leading the way, and that's Patrick Naroda still working on the back of Bradley Shepherd. Now, no massive lunges as yet from Naroda. Clearly, as far as he's concerned, it's way too early in the race for that. It's worth pulling away. Bradley Shepherd is maintaining a very good pace. Naroda is the fastest on the track in this race, but they're still running, quite significant 31-second lap times, and they are, obviously at the front of the race, but they're also up there on times as well. There's no reason to sort of do anything silly at this stage. Robin Kassam, I think he's looking pretty good there in 3rd place. He's fighting off Gavin Williams though, which is no mean thing.
If you could get points for niceness, Kazam deserves this third place. He's a really nice, quiet bloke.
I think Kazam would be up in first place in most people's view, wouldn't he, if it was a niceness point score?
But it's not.
Talking of Kazam, here he is coming towards us on screen, and he's having to turn a little bit not nice if he's going to be holding back Gavin Williams, because Gavin Williams all over him. There's Robin Kazam with the green on his helmet and green on his overalls, and behind him is Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams very much a dark colour, dark blue, dark red, and then behind Williams there's Hamlet and Mara and the rest. So there's Hamlet. So there we are looking now at Robin Kazam. Robin Kazam, he's in third place. There's Gavin Williams as they race down the backstretch into this final turn, and here in the crane camera corner,
Naroda's using every centimetre, every last millimetre of the track, and whilst some drivers, you know, just do that watching brief, Naroda's really making sure that Shepherd knows all about him. And into the pits we do have your good friend Adriano Medeiros, who, he's had to take a double stab at that now. Yeah. It's not a penalty pit stop, he's just been a little slow, but he's out on his own.
And guess what? He's come out of the pits, thumping the wheel.
Only dissatisfied with that slight loss.
Two reasons for that. One, everybody's been doing that, haven't they?
Yeah.
No one's felt happy. And secondly, he is South American.
Are you saying that they are passionate and red-blooded?
Yes, he's South American. We've got another pit visitor. Will this be another steering wheel?
Another South American? No, it's Nicky Dolan, who's listed as from Peasley, and he is looking quite satisfied with that pit stop. There you go.
Where on earth is Peasley, Spanners?
Peasley, I don't know, north.
No idea. Anyway, as long as Nicky knows where it is, he's come out of the pits then. He's 10th place behind Adriano Medeiros. I don't think he's that far behind Medeiros, to be honest. I'll have to have a look out the window to see where they are. At the moment, we're concentrating on the lead battle rightly, which is Shepherd versus Naroda. They're coming out of the snail area now and onto that backstretch. It's a fast run onto the backstretch there, and Shepherd is hogging that middle line, just dissuading Naroda from any kind of movement one way or the other. Shepherd still. Oh, Naroda at the inside. He's taken it. He's taken the position into the final turn. It's always got to be a gutsy move there. It doesn't often work out. This time it has for Patrick Naroda. We'll obviously have to take a bit of a double check on what the organisers think of that.
I think that's fine. I think that was a great move.
I think it was an amazing move. Yeah. It's there was we had a great view from the crane cam, by the way, on that one, Spanners. It was amazing. But Bradley Shepherd has been pushed back by Patrick Naroda. Now, we were expecting something from Naroda, whether a pit stop or a past position. It's turned out to be a past position. The organisers seemed quite happy with that. You were quite happy with it.
Yes, I was, yeah.
So the situation there is now that Patrick Naroda has the lead. He hasn't stopped either. So if he starts catching back markers, now the interesting thing for Patrick Naroda is nowhere on the track is there a big gaggle that he's going to run into. So he doesn't necessarily need to save that pit stop to pit himself out of a problem. Equally, whenever he makes the pit stop, he's never going to be too far away from everyone because they're pretty much spread evenly out on the track. Let's have a little look at this. So if Naroda made a pit stop right now, he would come out behind Rosso Mara, and he'd have Rosso Mara, and then immediately in front of that Joe Hamlet, and then the gap to Gavin Williams and Robin Kazam. So obviously he's not going to want to do that now, is he, Spanners?
I just think that Shepherd will be disappointed that he left the door open that much, and he'd been pretty good at being defensive, and I think Naroda might have, at first he was very busy behind him, and then he adopted a more Boutins-esque watching brief, and he was just there ready to pounce.
Exactly, and then he picked his moment, and he did, didn't he? I mean, that was quite a decisive move into the final corner there. It makes you wonder quite what inspired that, because, you know, from when you look at Shepherd, it wasn't like Shepherd had braked earlier or anything like this. It's just Naroda thought, I'm going to do it now.
I think Shepherd may just have been a little bit more conscious of taking the natural line, and that's all Naroda needed.
There was a space, it was the size of a cart, and Naroda threw it in.
It was nearly the size of a cart.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So we're looking on screen now. That's Joe Hamlet, I believe, and he's being chased down, yes it is, by Ross Amara. Now look at Amara's style there. He's very much sort of leaning forward. He's quite low in the cart, isn't he? Yeah. He's the absolute polar opposite of the likes of Regis Gosselin and Sam Spinell, isn't he?
What are you saying about his posture? You're right, he is hunched over.
He is completely different.
It's like he's pulling the steering wheel towards him in an effort to gain another tenth.
Yeah, he's absolutely chomping at the bit there. Look at that white helmet. We're talking about Ross O'Mara there. Ross O'Mara, who's been in the BRKC for a number of years now. We've even seen him win. He's actually from Manchester, and he really, gosh, he's got tight hold of that wheel. He's leaning into it, isn't he? As I say, he's doing the sort of slightly European lean though.
I know where Manchester
but
is.
maybe there's the difference in height and the fact he's leaning forward as opposed to leaning back sort of makes him stand out against the different style of Spinel and Ghostland.
So it's obvious to you why people are leaning out in
Yes.
karting, but when I've run karting events and I've looked through the photos of the action shots, so many people who are not out and out racers will just naturally lean in. That is the natural tendency, is to lean towards where you're trying to go.
Yeah, and also it's worth bearing in mind as well is in Britain, indoor karting isn't as major in British motorsport at the moment as it is out in Europe. I mean, things like the BRKC are really changing that, because it's a form of motorsport in its own right. There's karting outdoor and there's karting indoor, and they're very different things, and very often the skill doesn't transfer across as obviously as you would think. I mean, think of a champion like Lucas Sullivan there. He is in 7th place, you know. Obviously still a skilled driver, but you know what I'm saying. So the indoor has its own style, and it's often a little bit slower, but it's definitely a little bit tighter, and you've got to work the kart a bit more. You can't have the kart skating around, for instance. We're hearing some tyre squeal, but the tyre squeal can't be the kart randomly skidding about. The kart loses too much time on indoor track if it's skidding about. So you see, that's why these drivers are very, very neat and tidy, almost cornering on rails in order to minimise any speed loss, whereas flicking it about will actually gain you some speed in an outdoor kart. So from that point of view, that would be why you'd see that, Spanners, because it's not a normal thing to an outdoor kart. You've got you can use the drift a bit more, whereas indoor kart you can't.
I see, yeah, so 21 there, Naroda, yeah, definitely leaning out of the kart in that style. I'll remember that.
Yeah.
That's all gone on board.
Give it a try.
I'll be here next year. Carl can take over this, and I'll be in the racing.
Of course, if you were as tall as the likes of Marcel Hollink and Regis Ghostland or Sam Spinel, then, you know, it would be even more noticeable, Spanners. Now, there's Patrick Naroda down the back stretch. There's Bradley Shepherd. Now, do you know what? There's a little bit of gap appeared there. Bradley Shepherd has dropped back ever so slightly. Let's have a look at the times. Patrick Naroda is the fastest. No, he's not. Bradley Shepherd is the fastest on the track by 1/1000th of a second over Naroda. So the two fastest on the track are definitely heading the way. But the honour, if you like, has gone to Shepherd, who is in 2nd place.
We've got Joe Hamblett in the pits. I spoke to him yesterday. He said his big ambition was just to get these pit stops right, and that is certainly an improvement.
Yeah, did he look pretty right there, Spanners?
He looked all right, and he wasn't thumping the wheel.
I was going to say, was he shaking his head?
That was progression for him.
Excellent. So we're back on screen now with the leaders. Now Patrick Naroda is increasing his lead by looks of it. It's gone to a second now to Bradley Shepherd. Bradley Shepherd is the fastest on track of all the laps, but Patrick Naroda is ever slightly quicker now.
Gavin Williams comes into the pits, and I think Lucas Sullivan would have been hoping that Williams would have come out behind, but it's not the case, because Lucas has got himself in a battle with Ben Churchill that has probably slowed them both down.
Yeah, Gavin Williams there will have been very pleased to see that he has come out ahead of Lucas Sullivan, Ben Churchill.
Pit, big one.
The leader.
It's Ben Shepherd. Bradley Shepherd, I keep saying Ben Shepherd. Bradley Shepherd has in, so I think you're going to have to find Naroda responding now, and following him into the pits is Robin Kazam from 3rd place, and he's going to slot out behind Ross O'Mara, who hasn't yet pitted, I don't think.
Well, that's interesting, Spanners, because Naroda in contact with the pits, because as soon as your man Shepherd had come into the pits,
yes,
leaders in,
yeah, he's responding straight away. He does actually need this to be good.
They called him in from the pits.
Wow, he took a real gamble, I think, getting across and getting the perfect pit stop, and it's paid off.
Yes, it has. It's a bigger lead, isn't it? Look at that over Shepherd. Gosh, you're right. I mean, that looked like a huge gamble, Spanners. I mean, did it look very close?
Yeah, no, it did. He got going at quite a fair pace. You know, it's a real crawl normally, and people wait till they've seen the green. He seemed to kind of just go for it and hope, not hope, but let's call it skill.
Yeah, quite a gamble, considering that he didn't actually have to there, did he?
He went for it, and there was high energy coming from from his pit crew. And that must be a huge advantage turning up with a good team at an event like this.
Yeah, because while you were following the Shepherd pit stop, on screen, because obviously we have the small picture of the pit stops and the big picture of what's happening on the track, we actually had a great view coming out of the Snail of Patrick Naroda getting some signals and actually responding to signals from the pit. So clearly that pit stop was organised while Shepherd's was occurring. Obviously Naroda knew it had to be a good one, and it was. So Patrick Naroda continues to lead. He's put someone a lap down. It's obviously going to be Nicky Dolan, I believe.
Sharp work from Nicky Dolan to make sure he didn't interfere with the leaders' race there.
Absolutely, and Shepherd now is looking towards Dolan. I'm sure Dolan's just going to be the same with Shepherd. He's on form with Dolan, isn't he? He knows what to do. He's an established driver in his own right. You know, he's got some decent credentials. I mean, the well-named, in fact, better name than we've got anything here, the Amen Corner Iron Man. He was second place way back in 2009. But equally, in the Kart World karting, he's been a race winner as recently as 2018. So Nicky Dolan, obviously quite a vast experience behind the wheel of a kart, and some good credentials. But unfortunately, he's gone a lap down to Patrick Naroda, but only because of the standard on offer here, not because Nicky's bad.
The raising standard is equaling a raising consistency. You know, it's like in golf. Anyone can make that shot from 50 yards, but then you look at the pros and they do it time and time again, and the grouping of the circle is smaller, and that's what you're up against, relentless pace.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is what makes it a killer, because if you're just, say, 0.2 or 0.3 off the pace, and you're doing everything right, you'll feel like you've driven the perfect race, but you're down the order, and that's what makes it feel particularly stressful and feel like you've done a poor job, because you just don't know what to do to improve, and it's just the overall pace needs to come up by that fraction, and that's often the case. I know I felt that way in times when I've contested the World Championship. I remember the first time I contested the World Championship, I think out of the 200 drivers, I was something like 168th in the world, but it's not because I put a foot wrong, it's because the standard there, and you've got to recognise it, and that can be difficult for a lot of people, especially first timers into an event of this level, particularly indoor, when they're used to not seeing indoor to the same level. It can be a bit of a difficult one to get your head around. There's Adriano Medeiros crossing the line on screen there. Adriano Medeiros is 9th. He's another one who faces that particular situation where he's not an indoor karter. He's not really a karter anyway. He's been racing cars. He started racing cars in Sao Paulo at the track championship at Interlagos, where the Grand Prix is. Sorry, coming in.
Sorry, well, we've got the number 20 car, so that's Rosso Mira, who's coming in to pit. But looking up ahead at the road a little bit, Robin Kazam is coming under a lot of pressure for that 3rd place.
Absolutely, Robin Kazam is increasingly under pressure from Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams has been on his case for a long time in this race. So while the pressure decreases at the front, just one sort of grouping back, the Kazam-Gavin Williams pair in 3rd and 4th is increasing now, because it's only half a second. There it is. Sorry, that's Rosso Mara, wasn't it? There's Medeiros in 9th place, just coming down to view. So we're looking further back. There's Patrick Naroda, I believe. Yes, it's Naroda coming down the line. There's O'Mara and Hamlet.
They nearly came together.
In the Snail section there, we have O'Mara, Hamlet, and there's Adriano Medeiros, the Brazilian. As I say, Medeiros there, who's just exiting the Snail section, and now we're up ahead. That's the battle we were looking for, Kazam. Now, Kazam has been joined not only by Gavin Williams, but Sullivan and Churchill. It's a 4-way fight.
Yes,
this is for 3rd place Spanners. This is going to be very, very close indeed. We've got Robin Kazam, who's been holding off Gavin Williams all race, but they've been caught by Lucas Sullivan and Ben Churchill. This could get nasty.
How long have we got left in this race?
We're just about to end the timing. 3, 2, 1 on the timer. It's going to be the last lap next time around for Patrick Naroda.
I've beaten
Naroda, the brother.
I've beaten Kazam in a race once. That's my claim to fame.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he had a really bad race and got punted, but it counts.
He did? Okay. So you were in a 250 supercart and he was in a cadet car, was he?
No, I did my Lance Stroll tactic of just careful, don't hit anyone, careful.
Excellent. So, well, we're looking for an interview with him when he comes in with this result, if he gets third. So, the checker is out, and of course, Patrick Naroda has won, Shepherd is second, but what's going to happen behind? That's the real race of it. So, we're looking for where Robin Kassam is, Williams, and then Sullivan and Churchill. What's happening? Yes, it's kicking off, because there is Kassam, and behind him there's a battle. Sullivan was making the move on Williams. It's going to be Kassam from Williams, Sullivan, and Churchill. It really got racy at the end there. Lucas Sullivan was looking to make a move. He couldn't quite pick off Gavin Williams, but he certainly tried. It ended up being a pretty secure victory there for Patrick Naroda. Spaniards, you're going to have some great interviews there. What a race there, but what a great result for Robin Kassam. He came into third place there and held off 3 other karts to do so. Yeah, excellent performance.
It's a good one for Naroda. He didn't disappear off. He definitely had to fight for that, and Shepherd put up a really great fight. We'll make sure they come. Yeah, come and have a chat with us as well. I keep saying Ben Shepherd, apologies, Bradley Shepherd. There's a few I want to speak to, if we can get quick words with people. That's number 12 there, isn't it? Is Kassam in the black and green. Come and have a word with me. Yeah. Once again, as we get into the pits, everyone suddenly looks the same. I'm sure they know by now. If you win a race, make sure you come and speak to me so that you can get... I've been handing out these all day, all weekend, but there we go. That's what they get for winning a heat. I'm sure they want not only 3 or 4 of these. It's not a coaster production team. It's actually beautiful. Well done to Bradley Philpott for sorting these out for people. So, yeah, Bradley Philpott handmade these in his garage with glue and love. That's what he did. Okay. Patrick, it's great to speak to you again. It's a race win. I tell you what, Shepherd made that difficult for you at the start. What a move to make it stick.
Oh, thank you. I've got a cold kart in qualification, and I make a very big mistake, so I lost probably 1 second.
Patrick, you just won a race. Cheer up.
Yeah. And I have to pass him somewhere. He was blocking everywhere. That was only 1 corner when I can do that.
Spotted the gap and just went for it.
Sorry.
Did he make a mistake or anything?
No, probably not.
Thank you very much, Patrick. I've got a medal for you here for winning that heat. Well done, congratulations. Moving forward in this competition, let's speak to, I keep saying Ben, I don't know why, Bradley Shepherd. Tell you what, you did a good job holding him off for that long.
Yeah, well, it's just disappointing not to get the win, obviously. I'm not going to make the semi-final now. It's had a really bad result earlier, so yeah, but overall a good race, so yeah.
Absolutely scrapping, fantastic. Thanks for speaking to us, Ben. Well done, good race. Robin, I'm so glad you've got yourself a result. 3rd place, had to work for it though.
Yeah, I had to work a lot for that. Gavin made that really hard. I tried my best to pull away from him, but he's obviously keeping up. So I decided I'll just wait until he pits. I'll pit to make sure that I come out in front of him. But then not only was it he just behind me, then like 5th and 6th. So I just started becoming a train.
Were you aware that you were just going to just park it on the corners?
Yeah, that's what I just did. Like, I thought that was the best option for me at that point. Just for the last 2 or 3 minutes, just make sure it was impossible to overtake.
Great 3rd place finish. I'll see you at Buckmore in April. Good racing, well done, Robin. I'm glad you've got a result there, a popular result, I think, as well. For Robin, a great fight from Shepherd too, but ultimately Patrick Naroda showed his quality and picked up another win.